Hi, I'm Jason Gray. Have you ever wanted to have more confidence and power when dealing with people? If so, then stay tuned for this book breakdown and review. All right, this week we're looking at How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Giblin. And I'll be reviewing several of his books because it feels like he's a master in this subject. And if you're in business or leadership or management or even a relationship, you're going to want to know this stuff and really implement it. Now, this book was written in 1956. Can it still be relevant today? Well, look at some of the highlighted points that I'm going to share with you, and you can be the judge of that. Let me know in the comments below if you think it's all still relevant today or not. So the first highlight here is, it says human engineering is more important than technical knowledge, all right? And what do you guys think? Is understanding people and people skills more important than technical skills? I think most would argue yes, unless it's a very, very, very specific thing like maybe brain surgery or whatever. All right, so here's what it says. If there is one profession today that would seem to be entirely a matter of technical skill, it surely is engineering. Yet Purdue University kept careful records of its engineering graduates over a period of slightly more than 5 years. The earnings of those who made the very highest marks in school, those who appeared to have really mastered all the technical details and to have had the brains to master their profession, were compared with the earnings of those who made the lowest marks. There was barely a $200 per year difference. But when the earnings of those graduates who had demonstrated a marked ability to deal with others in social situations were compared, it was found that they averaged about 15% more than those of the smart group and about 33% more of those in the low personality ratings. And Google's done more recent studies of this that truly proves the number one determining factor is basically personality. I forget the exact word right now. Emotional intelligence, emotional IQ, okay? That determines major success. And Google, I don't know the exact study you want to look it up, but Google it, right? What they looked at is they had a lot of experienced human resource individuals that all were confident and I'm great at building teams and people and recruiting. And they looked and they all had about the same ratios. Then they started looking at their most successful employees and where they scored and what their background was and degree, no degree. And they found out it all came down to the emotional intelligence. And now, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw something like 2 months ago where Google doesn't even require a degree anymore. So they're really going behind those findings. All right, look at this. We are all egotists. There's 4 facts of life. 1, we're all egotists. 2, we are all more interested in ourselves than anything else in this world. 3, every person you meet wants to feel important and amount to something or be somebody. And 4 is there is a craving in every human being for the approval of others so that he or she can approve of themselves. Now, sticks and stones may break my bones, names will never hurt me. I don't care what other people think about me. Most of that isn't true. When you're moving into creative spaces, business ownership, doing something outside the norm, it can be lonely. And a lot of people will say and do some things that are against what you really want and can hurt the ego. You do have to find a way to not care as much and be more mentally tough. People who really give into their egos stay broke or stay kind of held back usually. All right, so here's some stuff here I highlighted. So a starved ego is a mean ego. Comparing the ego to the stomach goes a long way toward explaining why people act as they do. A person who eats 3 good meals a day gives little thought to their stomach. But let that person without food for a day or two and they become really hungry and their whole personality seems to change. From a generous, jolly, good-natured person, he or she is apt to become cantankerous and downright ornery. He or she becomes more critical. Nothing pleases them. He or she snaps at people. It will do no good for well-wishing friends to drop around and tell them all this trouble if only his stomach conscious, and that he must get off of his mind of his stomach. Nor will it do any good to tell him or her that he should think less of himself and think more of others. There is but one way that he can get over this stomach-centeredness, and that is to accede to nature's demand for survival. Nature has placed an instinct in each creature that says you and your basic needs come first. In short, this person must eat and take care of their own primary needs before they're capable of giving attention to anything else. So, and we see it all the time, hangry. It is very much the same with self-centered person. For a healthy, wholesome, normal personality, nature demands a certain amount of self-acceptance and self-approval. And it does no good to scold a self-centered person and tell them, get his mind off of himself. He cannot get his mind off himself until his ego hunger has been satisfied. Then he will indeed take his attention off himself and give it to work and to other people and their needs. So what does that mean to you? All right, it means make things about the number one subject, about them, about warming up to them, about making sure their ego is fed, and not making it all about you, cutting people off. Oh, you got that story, let me one up you. It's generally making them feel great with sincere compliments and acknowledgement and listening and being curious and going deep in about that person. All right, let's see what this one says here. Let's see here. So how to make people work harder. Subconsciously, we all notice what is important to us. So therefore, when someone notices us, this person pays us a big compliment. He or she is saying that he recognizes our importance. He gives a boost to our morale. We become more friendly, more cooperative, and actually work harder. Have you ever worked for a company, a boss, maybe even a friend or family member, and done a lot and you get no recognition, and or the person above you takes all the recognition and acts like it's their work or they deserve all the kudos? How'd that make you feel? That's what it's talking about. Don't do that. Make sure you never overlook someone. In fact, my mentor, Art Williams, says you can never over recognize someone or over compliment. Everyone has a flashing sign that says make me feel special, and make sure you're looking for reasons to add to that. Hey, remember the AAA formula for attracting people. One is acceptance. Acceptance is a vitamin. Look, we have to be less judgmental. We have to accept more people for who they are and as they are. And everyone has that hunger or thirst to be accepted as they are. Okay? Think about a husband or wife. There's a lot of successful businesses that when they're promoting a spouse, so let's say they're promoting a husband, they'll want to meet the family or the wife, not to see if she's great looking or does all these things that stereotypically a great wife would do. They just want to see, is she positive? Is she supportive? Is she lifting and pushing up her husband? Because a husband or a spouse that has that type of partnership, they're going to be confident and positive, moving farther and keep going ahead and be able to bring others with them, as opposed to one that's around a lot of negativity. It's hard to spread the positivity and move forward and have a clear mind and be confident if the general theme was the exact opposite. So that's pretty interesting of some of the successful companies back in the day, that's what they would look for. The second A is approval. So acceptance could even be negative. Yeah, that's just the way he is. But approval is, giving kudos to who you are and why it's so good and why it's a great fit for this relationship. And the third A is appreciation. Appreciation is magic. It's magic. And you know what? Appreciation goes a long way with children as well. So instead of taking the dictator role or authoritarian role where don't do this, blah, 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 what's wrong with you? It's really the, wow, I knew you could do it, or I'm so proud of you, or look at you, or you're a big girl now, or whatever it is. Or like for me, I have 2 young girls, and if one is really doing what we ask them to do and the other one isn't, we give tons of kudos to the one that's doing what they should be doing. So it makes that daughter feel special, but it also makes the other one hear all that and crave for that recognition and that attention. And we don't have to say, what's wrong with you? You're doing it wrong. Don't do that. It's, oh, wow, they're going to naturally want to do what the other one is doing. And we talk about leadership a lot too. So children crave that magic. 2 more little highlights, and then the rest of the book you're going to have to figure out on your own, okay? All right. Use your $1 million asset. So what is your $1 million asset? Even if you're broke in the bank, what's your $1 million asset? It's your smile, okay? If you're not using your smile, you're like a man with $1 million in the bank and no checkbook. And in this day and age, no debit card. No way of using that money, right? And the last one I highlighted to share with you all is you've got to know people, know what they want, and know what they need, and know what they are. The more you know that person, the more you make it about them and cater towards that, the more confidence and power you're going to have in dealing with them. And they're going to think, wow, this is the best boss, manager, friend, person, dad, spouse, cousin, uncle, coach ever. And that's what you want, isn't it? All right, guys, let me know what your favorite tip or idea was in there. Did I miss anything? Is this book still relevant? Is this something you think you want to pick up? And stay tuned. Probably 2, 3, 4 reviews later, maybe sooner, I'll have 1 or 2 other Les Giblin books I'm going to break down. He's got some really short ones, but powerful ones that I'm excited to read and break down with you guys. So until then, join me in the pursuit of greatness.